When we talk about serving our societies, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to change Kenya? And by extension, East Africa, and by extension, Africa, and by extension, the world. In Kiswahili, they say, mwachamila ni mtumwa. Mwachamila ni mtumwa. Are we proud of who we are? When we are teaching, I was asking one of the students, when we are teaching political science, who are we teaching? We are being told that democracy came from Greece, that is Socrates, he is Aristotle, he is Aristophanes. Is that true? Did Sundiata Keita in Mali not draft the Mandian Charter in 1300s in the 13th century? When we are being taught about architecture, didn't we have the Berlin walls? Don't we have the dug out structures in Lalibela in Ethiopia? Did we not have the Monomotapa Empire? When we are being talked about Pythagoras, do we not know that in Timbuktu, in modern day Mali, there were libraries? Do we not know that the Dogon knew that the world was spherical, the earth was spherical before Copernicus and Galileo Galilei? Don't we know? But that history is not told us. And I'm suggesting to us that the time is now for your generation to rise up. We have complained for too long, lamented for too long. I remember in this country, courtesy of history, and only the other day, because I'm writing a book about it, I was reading the 32 speeches that were delivered by African leaders between the 22nd and 25th days of May 1963 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, by the leaders of the then 32 independent African countries, each one of them, even the ones that became monsters later, were saying Africa must change. Change through her young men and women. I can still hear through the vicissitudes of time the eloquent voices of some of them who continue to be leaders when I was myself an adult. Them saying, we must change. When I hear people, for example, saying when somebody who is 24 years is appointed as a minister in Kenya, they think it's a strange thing. It is not. That was the age of people in 1963, when we were regaining independence. How old was James Gishuru? How old was Gikonyo Kiano? How old was Thomas Joseph Mboya? They were in their 20s. How old was Salim Ahmed Salim? How old was Samora Machel? How old was Julius Kambarage Nyerere? How old was Patrice Emery Lumumba? How old was Amilcar Cabral? They were your age. Many of them did not have the advantage of university education. Samora was a nurse. Patrice Emery Lumumba was a clerk. But they loved their countries. So today, when we talk about our own Kenya, when we regained independence, where did we drop the ball? Why is this who we are? And I've asked this question. When you board an aircraft, do you ever ask the tribe of the pilot? When you take a matatu, do you ask the tribe of the driver? But why is it that when you want to elect the pilot of your country, you ask to go our way? That even in universities, which should be centers of learning, when we want to appoint a vice chancellor in Maseno, we want a duo. When we want to appoint a vice chancellor in Masinde Muliro, we don't want just a Luya, we want a Bukuswa. When we want a vice chancellor in Kisii University, we want a Kisii. What happened to merit at the touchstone of who we want? I'm suggesting to all of you here that this must change. And it is you who are going to change it. And you must change it by deliberately choosing to do that which is good and right, because it is good and right. But are you ready? Are you ready to make the decision? Are you ready to be honest? Because honesty is one of the greatest ingredients that you need in order to change your society. It is Mwalimu Nyerere who said many years ago, siri ya maendeleo ni vijana wenye malezi bora, siha njema, bongo kali. If that is the truth, do you have sharp and keen minds? Are you prepared to do the right thing because it is right? Are you prepared to be truthful? Are you prepared to be courageous? Are you prepared to be sacrificial to do? Because when all is said and done, our country is only going to change when we have young men and women who are prepared to serve her. Today, when we talk about Africa, I hear people saying, Ubuntu. You are, because I am. But do you mean it? Or is it just a slogan? Do you mean it? Are you liberated? Enthusiasm without knowledge is empty. Is dangerous. You must be enthusiastic because you are knowledgeable. And young men and women, you are not here to compete with yourselves, no. You are here to compete with the world. Are you ready? Are you ready to compete with the South Koreans? You know, it is Yoweri Kaguta Museveni who said, and I agree with him, that when I hear African countries say the Kenyan economy is bigger than that of Uganda and that of Tanzania, he said, these are dwarfs. And the dwarfs are asking themselves which is taller than the other. What does it matter? They are still dwarfs. We must be competing with others. Our GDP is slightly, or give or take, 120 billion. It was smaller. We had a bigger economy than South Korea in 1963. Today, South Korea has a GDP of 1.5 trillion, give or take. What happened? What happened to us? And yet Kenya is one of the better African countries. Vietnam was at war when I was a Form 1 student. Today, Vietnamese economy is 5 times bigger than the Kenyan economy. What happened to us? These are the questions. And even if you do not worry for your children and children's children. Don't celebrate mediocrity. Waswahili wanasema, when you are celebrating mediocrity, kwa Kiswahili wanasema hivi: viwi mwavilamba vyombo vyema mtavilaje? Simtameza vyombo. So let us not be in the business of celebrating mediocrity.